All right. What a difference a day makes. Bob Arum says, according to reports, that for the right price, he'd be interested in selling Top Rank. Surprise, surprise. And what's the surprise here? That it's not Al Haymon saying that. But I don't hear all the reports about this, how they're going broke and how they're, all the problems over there at Top Rank from the media. I wonder why that is. But let's go through that subject in this. Oh, and also the idea that maybe the PBC might be interested in buying a couple of them contracts, if not the whole thing. Let's talk about that very fun subject in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So yesterday morning, actually it was the day before yesterday. I didn't do videos yesterday. I did my live stream. I had a lot of family business I needed to take care of yesterday, so threw me off my square a little bit. But here I am back in action, talking about a subject that came up the day before yesterday that I was really, really interested in, and that was the fact that Bob Arum said for the right price he would be interested in selling Top Rank. And my thought was, of course you were. Of course you would be. Because Top Rank is clearly in decline. And if there's one thing that people really like is money. Now, why would I say that it is clearly in decline? If you look at Top Rank, say in the 1990s. Let's go from the beginning of Top Rank and something that they always had. Almost always, maybe small gaps in which they didn't have it. But for the most part, they had it. Top Rank was founded by not just Bob Arum, but also a guy named Herbert Muhammad. Herbert Muhammad is the son of Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was the head of the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is the organization of that Muhammad Ali was a member of. So, not surprisingly, Bob Arum's first big fighter that got him over the hump and got Top Rank over the hump, not just Bob Arum, because like I said, Bob Arum was not the only guy to found that. The Nation of Islam founded it with him for the purpose of putting on fights that involved Muhammad Ali. Not a lot of people know that history that are not a member of this channel, but that is a fact. That's how they got Muhammad Ali to fight with him. So, in the beginning of Top Rank, they had the biggest star in boxing. Biggest star in boxing, easily. Muhammad Ali might be the biggest star in the history of boxing, easily. That he's the biggest star in the history of boxing, that's true. Easily, somebody can say, well, Floyd made more money, but you get my point. They had Muhammad Ali. After they had Muhammad Ali, they transitioned very smoothly into another major superstar that put on major fights. That was Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard was the biggest star in boxing until Mike Tyson came along a little bit, several years into his career, but definitely from like 78 through 84, 85, right? During the times of the Thomas Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard fight, his fight with Roberto Duran, the fight with the retirement and comeback with Hagler. Sugar Ray Leonard, one of the biggest stars in boxing, marquee name. After that, you had a little gap, but in comes Oscar De La Hoya. You have Oscar De La Hoya in the early 1990s, maybe 1993. I think he was a gold medalist in the 92 Olympics. So he went pro in 93. was probably got really big around 94. So 94 to the early 2000s, you know, it was Sugar Ray, it was Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya had a bunch of big fights with Shane Mosley, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Pernell Whitaker, you know, just Ike Corte. Basically, for a while there, non-heavyweight, right? The biggest star in boxing could easily have been said to be Oscar De La Hoya. Upon the decline of Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao comes and he rides a wave, Top Rank rides a wave with Manny Pacquiao for several years, all the way up until around 2015. So as you look at the chronology, if you look at the chronology of Top Rank, you see from about 1968, 1969, and definitely from the time of the return of Muhammad Ali, all the way through the Jeff Horn, all the way through the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight, they always had a top marquee fighter carrying that brand. They have not had one in the last 5 years, and they do not have one for the foreseeable future. And it is affecting their television ratings. It affected their relationship with HBO. And that's why I'm saying Top Rank has been in a decline. Top Rank, the next star after Manny Pacquiao was supposed to be whom? Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko, two-time Olympic gold medalist. Vasily Lomachenko, a guy that they got a championship fight in the first fight, but does not resonate with any defined demographic in the United States. Unlike Muhammad Ali, unlike Sugar Ray Leonard, unlike Muhammad Ali, unlike Sugar Ray Leonard, unlike Oscar De La Hoya, unlike Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao, the difference between him and Lomachenko is that Manny Pacquiao had a demographic that hated the biggest star in boxing, which was Floyd Mayweather Jr. Somebody, by the way, that Bob Arum and Top Rank had, but they decided not to feature because they went from their early portion of their career, which was superstar Black American fighters. Note, 1970s, major star, Black American superstar. 1980s, major star, Black American superstar, fighting other Black fighters, by the way. Fighting Thomas Hearns, fighting not Roberto Duran, obviously, fighting, he fought a Puerto Rican dude, Benavidez, but you get my point. Sugar Ray Leonard culminated with Hagler. Then you have Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya also has fighters. He also fought fighters and but that is shifted with Oscar De La Hoya. But Oscar De La Hoya had a huge demographic in the United States, Mexican-American fight fans for him, but he also had very good fighters to face that were established fighters to face. And he had fights that were tough fights that could go back and forth. He had his Shane Mosley fight. He had his Felix Tito Trinidad fight. He had fights that were intriguing fights with people around him, and he never had a sense of invincibility around him. He always had somebody that people thought had a chance to beat him, which added intrigue to the fight. And he's not 100, and in my opinion, he also, one thing that helped him is he's a welterweight. You're dealing with heavyweights and welterweights, heavyweights and welterweights. Now they're dealing with lightweights. Featherweight, super bantam weights, and what is the 30 pound division? That's not super bantamweight. That is, but anyway, junior lightweight from 130 pound. They dealing with 126 pounder, 130 pounder. Now getting up to the point with a lightweight, where traditionally the big fights that are important happen above lightweight. A lightweight guy like Shane Mosley or or Roberto Duran move up into the welterweight division. And if they can keep going, they go higher than that. And that is something that Top Rank has not had in years. And it is reflecting in their ratings. Just last week, you had Caleb Plant fight on Fox. Caleb Plant fought Fittin' Butts over on Fox and averaged 1.8 million viewers. That, my friend, was a higher average than Terrence Crawford had fighting Egis Kalvanakis on ESPN. Now, that is not Terrence Crawford's fault, other than maybe he needs to push for some real fights to happen. But that's another issue. But that is a major star. That is a major talent that could, if Bob Arum had decided to make a point of it, been a great fight like that's the Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler fight that's out there for Top Rank. Right? Now they have, biggest fight they're going to have in years is who? An ex-crackhead heavyweight from the UK who they're pumping up that could not sell, that seriously couldn't draw flies to dumpster if he's not connected to Deontay Wilder. And that's the big hope that they have. Of course, he's looking to sell that organization because he's got a lot of stuff in there that is valuable. He does have valuable pieces. He has a valuable brand. Top Rank is very, very well known. They've got great matchmakers. They're a very, very solid organization. They understand their boxing, but they made the same. In Top Rank, and HBO, when they decided to try to become international and focus on the international aspect of boxing, they left their bread and butter sitting by the side, right? Which was the American fan base, right? With American fighters, because they're an American promotional company. Once they lost that side of that, they started declining. But they're still a powerhouse in boxing. They got a big contract with ESPN for as long as that lasts, because I can't believe ESPN is overwhelmed with the numbers that they're getting, seeing as they've dropped damn near in half over the last 2 years, right? And they have stiff competition against with Fox. But, hey, man, I can understand why he might want to do that. Now, I would say, hey, Al Haymon, come on in there and see if you can get some of those pieces to increase the presence at Fox, even if it's a situation where you Fox and ESPN team, if by buying ESPN, you're also, as the buyer, held to the obligations that were set forth, by the previous owner, which means you cannot get out of the contract that you have with ESPN. But, you still have the fighters and have the ability to make other matchups, because it would be good to get Arthur Beterbiev and I do believe Bivens over there, and Lomachenko and Gervonta Davis and or Teofimo Lopez, but all those fights would be great fights. But anyway, I hope that I do see that as a possibility of happening. You let me know what you think in the comment section. With that, I'm out. Peace.